Yes, I did indeed buy and read this book, and I did not like it. I made that abundantly clear in my review, I think. I was very surprised at when I recorded that video at how little I actually remembered of the book because it's so boring, it's so padded, it's so ridiculous. I really can't emphasize enough. The only reason I picked this up is because of who wrote it. And that was mostly, that is absolutely the only reason people are defending it and it got published to begin with. I really can't emphasize this enough. Like, now that I've sat on this a little bit, I've read a little bit more of Lindsay's statements. I believe she actually saw the video. There's no way she didn't. I actually could not find any other negative videos out there regarding the book. I can't find anyone else who's read it and really discussed the things I've discussed about. So I think she was talking about me when she talked shit about her critics analyzing, trying to analyze the work and trying to talk about the underlying daddy issues and the pointless political aspects and just the failure, I think, to really make the ideas come to life and really make them fully fleshed out and interesting. I stand by what I said in the video. I think I said this in the video. This is basically a politically motivated Twilight. The entire appeal of it, from the author's perspective, was to create this political drama, this political thing, where this woman's relationship with an alien is this event that's going to change all of society. Not only all of society, but our understanding of human history and where we're going to go from here. We're going to progress, you could say, past our humble beginnings and become more than what we are because of this relationship between this human girl and this alien, and the alien is symbiotically attached to this girl, so he's never ever going to leave her. It has this really underlying, really weird sort of pseudo-romantic tone to it. She really fetishizes this stuff. It's really odd. It's really weird, but it's also uninteresting. It's also not very good. And it also, I would say, is completely unpublishable. And the reason it did get published, it did go through a specific outlet, was because of who Lindsay is. As a YouTuber, there have been several major YouTubers that have published books. I believe, I don't know if Axiom got legit published. I think it was self-published. To be fair, I don't think this is as bad as what Axiom put out. That's not saying a whole lot, but I mean, what I'm getting at is YouTubers have gotten published before, and to some success because they're YouTubers and they have an audience. That's all it takes to get published, really. If you're a celebrity and you can put your name on a book and somebody is going to buy it, then you're going to get published. It's not all that difficult if you're already well known in the community. And that's the thing I really wanted to, that if you're already well known, if you're already famous to a certain extent, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, is that it's not remarkable necessarily to get a book published in this fashion. It was interesting hearing Lindsay talk about this book and how it was published. Apparently, an agent reached out to her and offered her a contract before the book was finished, which is kind of weird. It makes me think that this was someone associated with her circle, and just be hey, if you write a book, we could publish it. And she did that, and this is what she turned out with. I'm not super well read on the creative process behind this book. I haven't watched a ton of Lindsay's content talking about it. I've mostly I'm mostly just going off by what I've been told, so to speak. I actually don't really know all that much about it. I just decided that yeah, it might actually be fun to check out a YouTuber's book and read and review it and see if it's any good. And spoiler alert, it's not. It really isn't. And I wouldn't recommend this to anyone, like not to her fans. I think I said this in the review itself. I do legitimately really like Lindsay as a critic. Like, in fact, I would say she's probably one of my favorite YouTube critics ever. I much preferred her to everyone else at Channel Awesome. I much preferred her to to people like Red Letter Media and a lot of these other outlets. Like, she's legitimately a really good critic, but she often lets her political opinions get in the way of to judging things adequately. So she can actually talk about the themes and higher ideas of media and things like that really well, and make it really interesting and funny even, which I think most professional critics fail to do. But then when she goes full woke, it tends to just be go full ridiculous. I actually stopped watching her content specifically for that reason. It's just not very. I could see the way she was going. I could see her going downhill, and the fact that she thinks this was an acceptable product to release to the public is, I don't know, an indication I was right. I would say this is about what I expected her to come up with when I first heard she was interested in making a Twilight knockoff. She's been experimenting with this for a while. I remember she was going to make a Cthulhu-inspired one, or a Lovecraftian-inspired one, or whatever she was going to say. The joke would be that oh, it's Cthulhu, but it's Twilight. It's not creative. It's not interesting. It's not something only she could have done. You know what I mean? It's not. I don't find it something. It's not creative. It's not. It doesn't have any interesting ideas. Nothing I've heard from her. When it comes to her actual writing ability seems interesting to me. Again, now that I've read the book, my opinion is not only unchanged, I'm more sure of that. I feel like she's not very good at making these kind of things. And that's all right. It's not a thing for everyone, but this is my problem with Lindsay. And I think the reason she really wanted this published, and the reason she did this, it's a status symbol for her. It's just another thing she's done to make herself seem like she's super successful, like she's in with that crowd, you know what I mean? And I don't think that's the case, because I don't think that anybody's going to be reading this 10 years from now and being like, oh man, this is the next Dune, this is the next Harry Potter, this is the next Twilight. Oh man, Lindsay Ellis, one of the great writers of our time. I don't think so. I personally think it's one of the worst books I've read this year. Not the worst, because I've read some real crap. Again, I just went over the Witcher books, which were awful. There are worse books out there, to be sure, but you're not. There's an infinite, right? There is a wide. There's the ocean, an entire planet, a galaxy full of complete shit out there. You're not competing with that. You're competing with the good stuff. You're competing with the best stuff in the industry, the best stuff ever written, the stuff that's still written, that's still widely read and appreciated today. You know what I mean? I found it interesting when Lindsay speculated the book wouldn't do well because it's sci-fi. I personally disagree. I would say it's not going to do well because it's simply not a good book. It's not something that's going to legitimately draw an audience on its own merits. It's going to be something. It has proven to be something that people are going to buy and defend purely based on who wrote it, and that is absolutely not something that I can respect.